will continue our chapter number 5, separation of substances. So, in this lecture, we will study about the sieving process, which is one of the method of separation. So, what is sieving process? Sometimes we may wish to prepare a dish with a flour. It may the wheat flour. To prepare a dish, we need to remove the impurities and bran. Here the new word which is bran. So what is the meaning of bran? This is the bran. Bran, it means the outer cover of the grain seeds which will remain while we are grinding the grain. So that is the bran. So impurities and the bran that is removed, that may be present in it by this process. So what do? We use the sieve and pour the flour into the sieve. So sieving allows the fine flour particles to pass through the holes of the sieve while the bigger impurities remain on the sieve. So which type of impurities will remain on the sieve? Which have the bigger size particle compared to the flour particle. So the particle of the flour having the size which is the smaller, and compared to the size of the particle of the flour, the impurities particle size is big. Then that impurities will remain on a sieve. So this is the picture of bran, which is the impurities, and this is the picture of bag full of wheat. This is the picture of bag full. And inside if we having a wheat, so it's called the bag full of wheat. Now in a flour mill, impurities like a husk and stones are removed from the wheat before grinding it. When we are going into the flour mill to grind the wheat or grind the grain, so before to make a flour from the wheat or from the grain, we have to remove the impurities from the grain like a husk and stone. Husk is also meaning of the outer cover of the seeds or grain, and so we have to remove that impurities like a husk and stone from the wheat or from the grain before grinding it. Otherwise it will also grind with the grain. So impurities is also grinding. So we have to separate that the impurities from the grain. Usually a bag full of wheat is poured on the slanting sieve to remove the impurities. Usually we take the bag full of wheat. It means this is the picture of bag full of wheat. This is the bag full. If inside it's have a wheat, then we will call it bag full of wheat. Then we will pour the bag full of wheat on a slanting sieve. Slanting sieve, it means the sloping sieve. Slanting, it means the slope. So sieve which having a slope, it's called the slanting sieve. The sieving removes the piece of stone, stalk and husk that may still remain with the wheat after thrashing and winnowing process. If after doing the thrashing and winnowing process, still it's having some stones, pebbles or husk impurities with the wheat or with the grain, then we will use the sieving process. If still the impurities are in the wheat or in the grain, then we will use the sieving process, and by using a slanting sieve, we can remove the impurities like a stone, stalk and husk having a size of the particle is much bigger than the particle of flour. You may have also noticed similar sieves being used at construction site to separate the pebbles and stones from the sand. Construction sites, it means where the buildings are made, where the buildings are constructed. It's called the construction sites. So that place you can see that the man which is who will separate the pebbles and stones from the sand. How they can do that? See, by this he is doing what he is doing right now. He is separating the pebbles or stone from the sand. From the sand. He is separate the pebbles and stone from the sand. So this is all the sieving process, and this is also the sieving process picture, which is regularly you can see in your home. Your mother is always sieve the first flour and then he make the roti or chapati from that flour. Why? Because if there is some impurities are still in the flour, so by sieving process it will remain in sieve. So by this process we can remove the impurities from the grain or from the flour. So here one activity is given here. Bring a sieve and a small quantity of flour from your home now to the class, but you can do at your home right now. You can take a sieve and pour a flour in a sieve. Sieve the flour to the separate any impurities in it. So first you have to take one impurities and you have to add into the flour. Like you can take a sand also, you can take a salt also, and now mix it with a flour and then sieve it after that. Now make a fine powder of a chalk paste. You can take impurities like a chalk paste, chalk powder, and mix it with a flour. You can take here wheat flour also. Can we separate the wheat flour and the powder of the chalk by sieving process? No. Why? Because if the both component have the same size, then we can't separate the both component. But if we take another mixture which having a size of particle is much bigger than the flow, then we can separate the both component, flow and the other impurities which have the size of the particle is much bigger than the flow. So sieving is used when components of a mixture have a different size. That is the important thing here. What is important? If the size of the both component is different,